I'm Jim Biersock, President and General Manager of Alerting Communicators of America. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce you to our products and our services.
This is our home office and manufacturing facility in Mequon, Wisconsin. We were founded in 1873 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and for over 100 years have been providing services and products of unparalleled quality and craftsmanship to thousands of satisfied customers. During World War II, we manufactured a gasoline engine-powered 125 decibel siren, later named the Alerter. It was for use in the Pacific Theater on remote island air bases. In 1948, ACA introduced the 10-horsepower electric rotating directional siren, and in 1968 expanded to a full line of sirens from 2 horsepower to 50 horsepower, which are completely enclosed in fiberglass with aluminum castings to eliminate the possibility of rust and corrosion. The Cyclone 50 horsepower 125 decibel siren is the largest non-directional siren in the world. Due to the cascading effect of a non-directional siren, the Cyclone will effectively cover a larger area with a constant even pattern compared to a 125 decibel rotating directional siren with its varying loudness. You will now hear a test of a steady alert signal followed by a wailing attack signal and then the pulsating local code signal. The tones heard at the start of and stop of each signal are the radio control signals used to operate the test siren. The 50 horsepower Cyclone 125 decibel 2-signal siren has no maintenance to worry about. The 2 motor bearings are the only bearings in the siren, and they are permanently lubricated and sealed for life. Because the color is impregnated into the fiberglass and all castings are aluminum, there is never any need to paint the siren to prevent corrosion. Because of its reliability and reduced maintenance, Alerting Communicators of America was awarded the contract for providing all the warning sirens in the country of Saudi Arabia.
ACA prides itself on our ease of installation, which means the cost of installation can be reduced to 1/2 of our competitors' costs. All the weight of the siren is directly over the center of the pole. There is no need for mounting a heavy compressor on a platform hanging on one side of the pole, which eventually would cause the pole to tip. As you can see, the only object mounted to the side of our pole is the radio or telephone control panel. This makes for a very simple and clean installation. ACA sirens are periodically checked by government inspectors to ensure continued high quality and specification compliance. Through decibel tests at varying heights such as these, we have developed installation manuals for our sirens which will help you obtain the maximum area coverage without exceeding safe decibel limits for human hearing on the ground.
As a result of these tests, ACA has become the major supplier of warning equipment for the nuclear power industry. The cyclone siren is the most popular choice because of its non-directional pattern, giving immediate notification in all directions at the same time. These pictures are at Maine Yankee Nuclear Power Plant. 3 Mile Island has purchased 60 cyclone sirens and 20 alerter sirens from Alerting Communicators of America. New Jersey Public Service has ordered 11 cyclones, 17 alerters, and 3 Banshee sirens. Omaha Public Power has ordered 95 alerter sirens. And South Carolina Electric and Gas has ordered 59 alerters, 23 Banshees, and 19 S2s. Installation of the cyclone siren begins with the digging of an 8-foot deep hole. With the pole placed at a convenient working height, the channel of the mounting flange is placed on the side of the pole. Using it as a template, 1-inch holes are drilled through the pole. The cyclone siren is now removed from the transportation vehicle. The cyclone siren can now be bolted to its mounting flange. It is secured with 8 1/2-inch bolts. With the siren firmly secured to the mounting flange, it is then swung over on its side and placed on the side of the pole. With the siren secured to the pole with 1-inch through bolts, it can now be raised into the vertical position. With the siren held in the true vertical position by the crane, crushed rock is filled into the hole around the base of the pole. The pole is secured in the ground by tamping the gravel hard. When the hole has been filled to the top with gravel and power has been brought to the pole and connected to the control panel, we can obtain permission from the proper authorities to test the siren. This is a test conducted by Dr. Von Lee and Dr. Rita Bazzioni under contract with 3 Mile Island Nuclear Power Plant. The maximum reading at ground level under the siren was 122 decibels. This is in compliance with new Reg 0654. Readings were taken at varying distance from the siren all the way out to 9,000 feet. The reading obtained at 9,000 feet was 74 decibels.
Alerting Communicators of America introduces the largest directional rotating sound beam siren in the world. The Penetrator 50 produces an astonishing 135 decibels in the sound beam at 100 feet without exceeding the 123 decibels on the ground when mounted on a 70-foot pole. You will now see the installation and testing of the Penetrator 50 siren.
This is an installation of a penetrator 10 horsepower siren at the New Jersey nuclear power plant. All ACA sirens undergo thorough acoustic testing sponsored by the United States government and the NRC nuclear power industry.
500 horsepower electric motor through a variable speed gear reducer drives a DC-3 airplane propeller at the Modine Wind Tunnel Testing Lab. It is here that ACA sirens are operated and tested at wind speeds in excess of 80 miles an hour.
Electric Company of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, conducted extensive tests of alerting Communicators of America and our competitors' sirens to determine the carrying ability of the sirens over very hilly and wooded terrain. This was done to gather data for a planning and warning system for their Beaver Valley nuclear power plant. The sirens were mounted on a boom truck and lifted to 50 feet above the ground. The 380-pound alerter was easily mounted on their lift platform and caused no balancing problems. With our competitor's siren, 200 pounds of slash weights were required to balance the weight of their horn, which overhung to one side of the center of rotation. The 1,250-pound total weight of the siren, as well as the need to pipe air up to the top of the platform, were problems that were noted by the sponsors of the test. Decibel readings were taken in deep valleys and wooded areas from 100 to 12,000 feet from the siren. You will now see how the unique ACA design allows for a simple and easy installation with a two-man crew. It starts with the placing of the pole on a few 4x4 shims to maintain a convenient working position. The location of the 3/4-inch bolt holes are then marked using the mounting platform as a template. The two holes are then drilled in the pole using a 3/4-inch auger. To secure the mounting platform to the pole, you may use galvanized 3/4-inch bolts of the proper length to pass through the pole, mounting channels, washers, and nuts, or threaded galvanized rod as shown here. They are inserted in the mounting channel and pole with flat washers, lock washers, and nuts on the ends. With the bolt heads driven securely against the channel on one side of the pole, the nuts are hand-tightened up to the pole on the other side and then securely tightened with a heavy wrench. If you are using threaded rod, the excess can be burnt or sawed off even with the outside edge of the nut. The assembly of the pole and its siren mounting flange are now ready to receive the siren. The ACA siren is now lifted from the transportation vehicle and moved into position near the pole mounting flange. Once on the ground, the 380-pound alerter siren is easily tipped on its back with the horn facing up. It is then slid carefully along the ground on a cardboard pad until the siren flange and the pole flange are in alignment. The pole should now be suspended by the hoist so that it can be lifted and pivoted to align the 8 bolt holes in the flange. The half-inch bolts are now inserted in the flange holes and secured with lock washers and nuts. Use heavy wrenches to make sure the bolts and nuts are tight. This siren is now ready for the electrician to do all the wiring and mounting of the controls on the ground prior to lifting the siren in place. The assembly crew can now move on to the next installation site to assemble another siren to its pole. The electrician has finished wiring the siren and controls, the erection crew can auger the hole in the ground for the pole.
digging of the hole has been completed, we can transport the siren from the convenient assembly area to the installation site. The assembly should always be lifted by the pole and never the siren itself. We must also be careful when moving the siren assembly not to drag the fiberglass on the ground or let it come in contact with the truck. Once we have reached the installation site and the hoist is secured above the center of gravity of the assembly, we can start lifting the siren into place. Once the pole and siren assembly are in the vertical position, the base can be maneuvered over the hole and lowered into it. With the siren pole held in the true vertical position, the dirt may be filled in around its base. The dirt is tramped hard to secure the pole, and the hoist may be removed. Now the electrician may come in and put in the ground rods and finish wiring the siren. Meanwhile, the erection crew can proceed to the next siren site. When the electrician has finished the final wiring and the power is turned on to the siren, the installation is complete and ready for testing. The fiberglass of our sirens can be purchased in any color desired. ACA sirens have been chosen for the area warning systems at the nuclear power plants of Florida Power Corporation, Crystal River, Toledo Edison Davis Bessie, Duquesne Electric Beaver Valley, Maine Yankee Atomic Power Maine, and many more. The Canadian government purchased 301 alerter sirens after testing revealed ACA had the only siren
capable of withstanding their severe Arctic weather testing. ACA sirens are installed in Mexico, Taiwan, South Africa, Oman, and by the U.S. Army in Vietnam. The U.S. Army Electronics Command at Fort Malmuth purchased 200 alerters for installation in Metro Washington, D.C. after extensive testing. The sirens were required to operate with environmental conditions of minus 40 degrees to 158 degrees Fahrenheit, 5 inches of rain per hour, 100% humidity, 1 inch of ice cover, 40,000 foot altitude, 80-mile-an-hour wind, and 125 decibels at 100 feet. ACA passed all these tests with no discrepancies. This is a chart of the wind tunnel test. This is the 500 horsepower motor operating through a variable speed gear reducer to drive a DC-3 airplane propeller to provide the 80-mile-an-hour wind. Here we see the testing instruments in the wind tunnel. This is the control panel that operates the wind system. This is a dynamometer that tests the drag on the siren due to the wind. Here we see the siren being carried into the wind tunnel for testing. It is positioned in place and bolted to the floor. The siren is now ready for testing. Here the siren is undergoing full tests operating at 80-mile-an-hour wind. Here the government inspectors are checking the gauges to determine the qualification of the test. Here the siren is being unloaded at the icing test site where 1 inch of ice was built up over the entire siren. This is the test chamber. The siren is loaded into the test chamber by the engineers. The siren is now bolted into the test chamber, ready to be tested. We can now see the ice building up over the fiberglass horn. A fine mist spray of water was sprayed into the room below freezing until 1 inch of ice has formed over the entire siren and its controls. After this was done, the siren was then operated and tested for current, voltage, and any discrepancies that might be shown. Here we see the icicles hanging from the horn. When the tests were completed, no discrepancies were noted by the government testing agents. Here the siren is being readied for the outdoor 125 decibel at 100 foot test. This is the government inspectors with the decibel meters checking for the output of the siren. Again, no discrepancies. Here we see our assembly area in our plant where the alerter sirens are being assembled for Washington, D.C. You can see the collector ring under the motor that allows the rotating system to operate and provide power up to the motor. you see the rotor that produces the sound using back curve finning. The back curve finning of our rotors produces the high efficiency that only ACA sirens have. Here is our machine shop machining the rotors for the siren. Extreme close tolerances are maintained throughout manufacturing. Here is our warehouse with sirens ready for immediate shipment. Here you can see approximately 100 sirens awaiting shipment. You will now see that
you have seen. Alerting Communicators of America takes great pride in our products, our engineering, our craftsmanship, and our heritage. Over 100 years ago, in 1869, Louis Beersaw came to America with only his craftsmanship and a desire to succeed in the land of opportunity. He started a tradition when he founded our company in 1873, which we will always strive to maintain. It is a tradition of excellence in product quality and reliability through advanced research, engineering, and development. Alerting Communicators of America takes great pride in being the leaders of its industry and will always adhere to its motto, "You can depend on us."
right in the middle, Joe.
Pull the red one, Bill.
Set it right in the middle, it's deep enough. Got that much left.
Pull the red one.
Half. Half? Yeah, I'm trying to see if you